welcome back to another edition of our GoBrunch talk show. I'm your host, Marisa Loewen, and I'm very excited to go through today another one of our amazing GoBrunch members who's actually been a member for, we think, about over 3 years now. Because I would say I've been seeing you in the audiences pretty much since we started having audiences.
Yeah.
And I love that because sometimes it feels like I was just out here by myself. And then we started having these get-togethers. And I know that you have, not only do you come to my workshops, I try to come into yours. Like, it's such a great way to get to know people. But I know I always look forward to seeing you in the audience and coming and sitting beside. So introduce yourself. Tell us a bit about what you do, and then we'll start seeing what you do, what you use GoBrunch for.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you again for allowing me to be here. It's always a good day to be in a GoBrunch room. So my name is Jaunai, but everybody just calls me Jay as my nickname. And what I am for my clients is I am a sales success strategist. So I teach everything selling, everything that deals with messaging, everything that deals with closing, because a lot of my clients are passionate about what it is that they do. But in order for their business to grow, they have to learn how to have selling conversations that ultimately convert if they want to make some money. So I kind of coach them, guide them along, and give them those tools and strategies to make that part of their business run as smooth as possible. So a little bit about me and as far as like GoBrunch is concerned, I use GoBrunch for everything. I am completely free of any other meeting software now. Like, I canceled my Zoom. Everything for me is all about GoBrunch, and I absolutely adore it because it is a difference maker for me and my clients. They love the space. They love coming into the classroom where we learn every second and fourth Saturday, and they love unwinding in the listening lounge or the rooftop bar. And so we just find different ways to get together. And the good thing about my community is everyone is spread out. And so the only way that we can literally be together is through GoBrunch.
And I love what you just said. So now you just said, okay, I'm working with people who want to get stronger in their sales messaging, in their tools and tactics. But you mentioned like Rooftop Bar, so this is an interesting thing, which I think is really important, is that when we're looking at building communities, it isn't just about the rooms that we're doing work in. GoBrunch has allowed us to create these experiences where people get to come in and do different kinds of things or different kinds of activities with us in these rooms.
Right. Yeah. So, we talk about the rooftop bar. So the really cool thing that we try to do is we try to mimic real life interactive.
Let's see it. Pull it up. Let's actually get right in there. Let's go to the rooftop bar.
Let's go to the rooftop bar. So I'm going to pull this up for us.
And while she's doing that, I just want to point out a few things about GoBrunch that Jaunai is using really well. So you see, she said her nickname is Jay. So she's got in her brackets there. So people can really, identify, right, how am I going to address her? And that's something is completely customizable is our name. I just have Marisa. Sometimes I have pronouns in here. We can really edit this to allow people to kind of see, okay, who am I talking to? How do they want to be addressed? All of that is completely customizable in the profile and can be changed while you're in the room. So I might come in as Marisa and then I realize, oh, I'm in another room. Nobody knows me. I'm going to change that to Marisa Loewen in a different profile, or I'm going to put in my pronouns, or I'm going to put in some other kind of information that maybe people need to know so that they know who they're talking to.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what it's about, is mimicking real life scenarios. And so this right here is the rooftop bar, because a lot of what we do when we're talking about connecting and selling happens outside of an actual meeting space, like an office. Sometimes we need places where we can invite customers for a nice little drink after a hard day's work and try to develop a relationship through regular conversation, like real people would actually meet up for dinner or maybe for lunch. And so I created this rooftop bar to give that space for people to come in and say, hey, you know what? Normally we would do a coffee chat, but would you like to have a drink with me after work? And we can talk a little bit about what it is that you do and what it is that I do, because now you're getting things done, but you're doing it in a more relaxed space versus a business space. I don't know about you, but when I get on to other type of meeting platforms, they're all stiff and stuffy,
Yes,
right?
yes, clinical. Like it's like white on white. Oh, okay, thanks.
Right.
Thanks. Like we
Yeah.
live in a world of color. What are we doing? Like, come on, let's bring some personality. Let's bring some expressiveness into what we're doing, right?
Exactly. And so that's what I wanted. I just wanted this space to, like, you know what, unwind, but still a comfortable place to have some business conversations. But you know what? If you want something that's a little bit more business-like, another place that I have, hold on, let me find it, is the boardroom. Right? Because
Yes.
this is where decisions are made. This is where deals are inked, right? Especially if you're meeting with people and you have more than one or two people that have to come through and sign and ink a deal, right? Why not invite them to a boardroom where everybody can sit around the table and discuss what you need to discuss in order to make it happen? So who doesn't love a pink boardroom?
Oh, let's see it. Let's see it.
Let me go back and let me see and
Before
share.
you go through here, I just want to say something too. So we
Yeah.
have GoBrunch has a World Expo, which basically means if you have a GoBrunch area, you can showcase it off to other GoBrunchers and people who are interested in GoBrunch. And I noticed that you have something in here that is the GoBrunch Expo just happened, but this is a really great example of how you can use these rooms when you're not here. So you've got a picture of you, which is fantastic, absolutely branded. I wouldn't expect anything less from you. Hi, everyone. My name is Jay, your sales success coach. Okay, so first of all, let's just say this. I'm a marketer. I'm going to be appreciative that you've got in here. We know exactly who you are and what you do. Thanks for coming past my rooftop bar where we just chill and unwind after a long, hard day. She's telling us a story here. There's this, we can see where we're at. And now she's described exactly what we're doing here. Feel free to stop past anytime. Hang out today only. As a visitor of the World Expo, get your free gift, which is a business planning system for your business that helps you get 2025 off. Okay, I have a question. Was this a link? Link in the chat. Okay, so you had a link hosting in the chat. So GoBrunch has the ability to keep a chat open, and you can either have it clear out at the end of the day, which sometimes what happens in GoBrunch stays in GoBrunch, or you can have a chat that stays behind. So now you've used the ability to keep that link in there and they can go click it at any time. Now, one of the if there's a busy room and people are chatting, the link could get pushed to the top. But there's other things that you can do in here. We can embed buttons, we can embed links on these images now. And so there's lots of different ways that we can what we call hack GoBrunch to allow to have this immersive experience. But what you've done is you've said, hey, I'm not in the room necessarily, but that's okay. You're still going to get my information. So now you've given everybody this look at this rooftop bar. We know exactly what you're about. We know exactly what you're trying to create here in the space. And now we know how to get a hold of you.
Yeah, and the really cool thing about it was the expo was a great day. It was so busy, Marisa. As you know, we have so many people that are brunchers that create so many fantastic spaces. But this last expo was only a day. And there was no way, with all the conversations and meeting everyone, that we could literally get through everyone. So I actually left mine up, and believe it or not, 2 to 3 days even after the expo, I still had people clicking on my link and downloading their business planner and then sending me messages talking about thank you for this, right? Because
I am 100% using this for summits. Like if I'm in somebody else's summit or somebody else's event, I'm not sending them to my website anymore. I'm sending them to my GoBrunch page that has this interactive experience. It has this ability for them to grab this, to get this feel in here. And like you said, it's days after, it's a week after I'm seeing people are popping in. And now that we have those notifications, you can actually know when people are coming into your room. So you can come meet them in here and have a live conversation with them while they're visiting.
Yep, exactly. Or have a drink with them at the rooftop bar, right?
That's right. Okay, let's go to the boardroom. Let's see this.
Yeah, let's go to the boardroom. So all I'm going to do is share this tab instead, which switches over very nicely. But this is the boardroom, right? So this is where you're able to come in, and this is where if you really want to have like a super serious conversation, or you really just want to impress people, this is the room where you would want to make that happen. One of the things, that we're talking about GoBrunch is you don't see my circles, right? The same circles that you saw, it's because we have the ability to actually make our circles as transparent, which declutters a space a lot. And so that is actually what you're seeing. So when someone enters this room, they'll be able to pop into one of the chairs. And then when that person leaves, it'll be gone, just as if they, got up and left. And so it mimics real life interactions.
Yeah. It makes me feel like I'm sitting at a table with you. We're ready to do business. The agenda's on in front of us. We're ready to go. Now, what's also interesting is, are you on right now like a desktop by any chance?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. You know how I can tell is because your window, when you share it, and I see it on this side, it's long and skinny. And this is something to watch if you are sharing in GoBrunch. Some people it's whatever your browser, when you're sharing something, it's whatever your browser width or height is. So I'm seeing like a kind of a low, shallow, but long. It's probably like maybe a 24 by 9, dimension in here. Which it's interesting because to me, it really changes the way I'm looking at this. I'm able to stretch this right across my monitor. I'm not immediately distracted by a lot of the room because it is lower in height. And sometimes when people share things and using their screen share, they're using like a square browser or a laptop, and that's the size. And I can't change that. I can change the size of it. I'm just going to do like a little demo that is in here. I can change the size of this. So I can move this around my screen. So anything that Jay is sharing here, I can actually move around and customize very easily, but I can't customize the dimensions of the things. It's just one thing to keep in mind if you are designing your GoBrunch experience, is that what you see in here in the browser and you share, the other person's going to see too. And this is where you can get into some intentional design. Because like I said, this actually long with a very short height is really interesting for me because I can move it around the screen. I can see both you. If you were instructing me right now, I can actually bring that up to a very nice spot in my field of vision. And if it was any wider, I might not see somebody else sitting in the chair beside you. So this is a really interesting aspect when you can look. I'm interjecting, but go tell us more about the boardroom and what you were thinking about when you created this.
So the boardroom, when I first started my business, I started off as teaching goal setting, and where we met was in the boardroom. And people would come into the boardroom and they would share their goals. So it was only fitting that once I learned how to build out spaces in GoBrunch, that I had a boardroom, because it's nostalgic for the people that have been with me for several years. So yeah, it's great to come in and, talk about deals and things of that nature. But it also reminds me, hey, I got goals I need to hit. I need to put some strategies to those goals. It just makes me feel like productive in a sense, having this boardroom. So
you're getting a deal done. And how many people do you normally have? Like, how many seats, I guess, do you have in this room?
In this room, we have about 8, I want to say.
Yeah.
So it's not a lot, and it's intentional, right? Because when you're also talking about boardroom, you're also talking about it takes a lot to get to the boardroom. Not everyone is invited to the boardroom, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I love this. I love this a lot. Okay.
So these meetings that we have here are very, very, very exclusive. And this is, like I said, if you get invited to the boardroom, it's either for we have a deal that we're working on, or we're talking about some really hardcore goals.
I like it. And you've got your brand, you've got the Sales Success Society up there so people know where they are at all times. And I mean, we know that the more people see your brand, the more they are repeated. You've got obviously the pink going in here, and that repetition is necessary for people to recognize you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what this is. It's like when I envisioned my GoBrunch, I envisioned a extension of me when I'm not around, right? when people enter my space, they say, "Oh yes, this is definitely Jay." When you see the pink throw up all over the place, I want people to be like, "This is Jay," right?
Right.
Because that is absolutely my favorite color. So yeah, so you're gonna see this theme all throughout any of my GoBrunch spaces. For example, my
Yeah,
Bravo Theater.
perfect. Yep, perfect.
Now Bravo Theater is a new addition to the Sales Success Society. And the reason why we needed to have a theater was because I have a lot of members who do YouTube videos,
Yep.
and I want to support my members. And so I say, hey, wouldn't it be great if you can watch your YouTube video on the big screen and you can invite people and do a viewing party or a watch party, or you can actually launch in a theater and you can all dress up and go, black tie, and say you're walking down not the red carpet, but the bright
Hot
pink
pink.
carpet.
Yep.
Yeah, the hot pink carpet. And you can see yourself up here on the screen and people can interact and you guys can watch it together. And so I created this space with my members in mind, just trying to find different creative ways within GoBrunch that they can envision their business outside of the norm.
I love that. Do you want to hit play there and we can see kind of how it works? So this is an embed that you've put in here for YouTube.
Can you hear that though?
Yeah. I mean, fantastic. So this is one of your members and you're showcasing her business basically here.
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, what's cool is that, with YouTube, they've got playlists and stuff so that you can create playlists of your own clients and then have it up here. I have one that basically is like a gallery view of everybody that's a Catalyst member. And you can, I think it shows like the last 12 videos. And so when people come in the theater, they can actually click on whatever one they want to watch. Yeah. I went in there the other day and there was like a comment in the room and someone's like, whoa, I just spent 4 hours watching. This is great. They needed to get something done. I didn't even know who they were. They were a visitor to the free space. They spent 4 hours getting stuff done, listening to our key messages for 4 hours. Like, what an opportunity to captivate an audience and give people that space to come in there. And now they know my key messages. Now they know my audience. Now they know my members. They got to meet it. So what an opportunity.
And the cool thing about it is because, I believe this year is all about collaboration, right? And so I have people that have invested in my knowledge and my expertise. And this is just one of those ways to give back because now they have a place where they can get more views. Right. Mm-hmm. And so every time someone comes in and they click on this, not only do they learn, not only are they enjoying it, but you're also helping your views. I have a lot of people that are this close to being monetized. Right. Yeah. And so, hey, why don't you get a couple of your friends? Everybody come in here, watch your video at the same time. How cool is that?
Yeah. Yeah. Having a watch party is fun. I really love this idea. This is fantastic. And I mean, literally you can have a subscribe button embedded in here too. So it's like, we're going to watch this all. And then by the way, while we're watching this, go click that button in the top left corner and hit subscribe right now. And then you're going to get to that you're going to get to your 1,000. You're going to get to whatever that number you needed to get to that next monetization level. So that's fantastic. But it also means you can have a chat with this. I was telling you earlier this afternoon, we've been watching the Lisa Frank. So we've been sharing the movie in here and just watching and having a chat about it. We're just like having a live conversation about it. So, somebody can bring in here, you can showcase case studies, you can showcase a video that maybe had a really important message, you can showcase your vlog, your podcast. I think what an absolute stunning way to share this. And I love that you are sharing your clients. So you're giving them an additional benefit to being in your community.
Yeah, that's what it's about. It's about finding ways to help other people win, right? Mm-hmm. And when I think of my GoBrunch space, that's kind of like the overarching theme of it. It's like, come here to design your win. What's your win for today? What's your win for the week? Let's talk about, some of these things. And so that's how I see my members when they come in. It's like, okay, what are we winning at today? And how can I empower you and encourage you to win through this space that literally blows people's minds when they come in.
I love it. And so how many seats did you put in this room?
So this room is a little small. So I want to say there's probably about 15.
Okay. And you kept them about like a medium size, or I don't know if this is a medium or large size circle. Is that so that you can, you can kind of see who's in the audience? There is a tinier circle. I just built a room. I was like, oh, these are tiny. It seems so small compared to what I've been building, but you could actually fit quite a few circles in here if you had like a tinier circle.
Yeah. And so I stay away from the tinier circles, even though this room would have looked great with the tinier circles. But I find it hard to connect and to see facial expression. Because when cameras are on, I want people to be able to see each other. And so I tend to stick with the medium size or higher when it comes to that, because when you're in selling, body language, facial expressions, all of those nonverbals are super important when it comes to the sale. And so I wanted to make sure that my members were able to see responses and not just get the verbal feedback, but actually see like people smiling or, people who had a question. So that way they know how to interact.
Yeah, the smaller circles sometimes too, like you can't tell who was speaking because there is a little speech bubble that sometimes goes above the head. But with the smaller circles, it can get harder to find. The other thing too with intentional design, which I know you've done in here, is that if you put too many circles close together, the names will overlap. So now you have not only can, the participants in the audience might not be able to see who each other are, but you also are trying to find what's that person's name? Well, you can't see because the circle's overlapping.
Yeah.
So making sure that you've put that in there is essential. And I know you've done, I can see the circles. So you've given enough space in there for the names to fit.
Yeah, definitely. Tried to give enough space for all of the circles because names are important. When you're talking about sales and marketing, you're also talking about visibility, right? And if I'm going to preach it, I have to make sure that I allow for that visibility.
And so you see, so Jay's actually made these circles. We have the ability to put a color behind them so you can actually see where the circles are. We all prefer, I think, for the most part, either a slight shading or no shading at all because you can see the whole room. And like you said, if there's only 2-3 people in here, you don't know that there's empty seats because whoever's in the room is meant to be in the room. But the nice thing is that I think when you moved over, you can the cursor in the room will change from an arrow. I think it changed. What is it? Highlight over one of the other circles. Is it a hand?
Let's see.
It's a hand. Yeah. So the little hand gives you an idea that there's somewhere to sit. So you can always just sort of scan your mouse over, which is great. I mean, that's a great way for people to know. Now, it's also interesting to see how many people are curious in your audience because some people are like, oh, this is where I popped in and this is where I stay. And some people are like, no, I'm going to move over. I'm going to go sit beside my friend. I'm going to go sit. And that's where I love seeing some of these interpersonal like relationships happening because people are like, I'm going to go sit by so-and-so. I know I've come to sit beside you. I'm like, I know you. I'm going to go sit beside you. I'm going to go sit beside Claudia. I want to sit by my friends, even though this is a virtual space. And that's something Zoom can't do. It's whenever you join the Zoom call, you get placed unless you have some sort of like star or maybe the host has said, okay, anyone who has their video on can be up front. And so you don't really have that ability to kind of move around or to do any kind of cohort or groupings.
Yeah.
Whereas here in GoBrunch, you can absolutely virtually sit beside the person you want or like not sit beside the person you don't want. Like it's such a great way to develop some of those things that we take for granted in person events that can absolutely be recreated here.
Yeah, absolutely. I do have another room that's like a conference room, and I think there's about 6 or 7 seats per table. And that one is very interesting to see people move around and switching tables.
Do you want to show us it?
Yeah, let me pull that one up.
Did I tell you about the time that I tried to create separate tables?
No.
It was a disaster. I had like the very standard meeting room from GoBrunch for years before I really had redesigned it to be branded. And so everybody was used to being around this really long oval table. And then I'm like, oh, I'm going to create this room and it's got 6 different tables. And it caused complete anxiety for everyone, because if they came into the room, it's a little different if it was like an event or a conference and you're just filling in and everybody's kind of sitting, but I have an open co-working, and so people drop in whenever, and they would come in here and say, I was at table number 2, and they didn't really want to be at table number 2 for whatever reason. They wanted to be further down the room or whatever. It was a personal thing. It wasn't necessarily about me, but then they would feel guilty because they didn't go sit beside me at table 2. And I was like, oh my goodness, we're mirroring actual social anxiety of, do I go sit with my friend? Do I go sit with someone new? And it was interesting to see how people reacted to it.
Yeah, it is very interesting when people come into my classrooms on Saturday. And of course, it's a regular classroom, and sometimes we have assignments that are due, homework that is due, and I can always tell who did their assignment by if they sit in the back of the class versus the front of the class.
Yes. Don't call on me. Don't notice me. I love these tabletops. They are gorgeous.
Thank you.
They're my idea of a good time. So you built this room. Did you take
this is actually one of the GoBrunch standard templates that Richard has given to us.
Yeah.
But I needed to jazz this up a little bit. And so what I did, believe it or not, I created this circle on Canva and just brought the circle over and placed it on top of the table, almost like my very own tablecloth.
Yeah. That's fantastic. So you use the basic, hover over the table 1 again. I know that there's a logo. Okay. Yeah. Interesting. I'm curious to see, did you put the table 2, did you make the table 2 in Canva, or did you use the GoBrunch text tool?
The GoBrunch text. Yep. The GoBrunch text is there just so people can remember what table they were at, and if I wanted to run any type of networking or any type of activity, we can identify people by the table that they're sitting at, and they can identify who were their table mates. That's a really big thing at live conferences. When you spend a few hours at a table and you have a lot of bonding going on, and then you come home and you're like, hey, I was at table 2, you would create a little camaraderie. So once again, able to take something that we did in the real world and still be able to bring it over here to GoBrunch to create that same emotion, that same feeling.
So I love this. So you've used a basic GoBrunch template that they have that has these, and I recognize it now. And then normally, if you don't add anything to this room, the reason why when she hovered over table 1, you could kind of see a plus minus is you can actually put a logo on these tables. And so it's kind of neat because you can do a branded experience. I like that they've changed this now. You can put a logo on each table. When it first came out, I think you could only put a logo on one table. And I was like, what is the point? Also, the logo was super tiny, but they've made some really great advancements here. And so you've really adapted this so that it is branded. And then you've got the 2 spots at the top for the instructor. So it's very easy for the eye to find who's leading the room because you can see them right there. I love that you have used the GoBrunch text tool. I use it quite a bit for any kind of direction or wayfinding. And like you said, being able to label that table 1, table 2 means they can go back and find their cohort. You can also use GoBrunch to do breakout rooms. So then you could actually label your breakout rooms to be table 1. Did you do that?
No, I did not do that.
You were going to be just like, absolutely, I did that. I was like, oh my goodness, are we that? But you could do that if you wanted to have a breakout room. You could have table 1, table 2, table 3, table 4. And then as you saw, she just went to the all rooms tab where you can see all of the rooms that she's got in this section. I don't know if you noticed when she was sharing before the rooftop bar, and then she brought us into this. She closed out the I'll probably get you to go back to the lobby at some point, but she closed out this and then went into a different set of rooms. And this is what GoBrunch allows you to do. You can create these collection of rooms. And this is really great, both for keeping some of the rooms exclusive, especially if you have a paid and a free community. So you can create a collection of rooms that are paid and a collection of rooms that are free, and then use different things in here to help them. So you had it when you first came in, there was a directory in there. So the lobby, let's go back there.
Yeah.
Highlight some of the things that you've built in here this is your paid community, right?
Yep.
So you've got that directory in the lobby.
I have my directory. And this is where when I send out my links to my folks, I always send them the link to the directory because I want them to get in the habit of you're coming into an office space and you need to find the room that you're going to. And you click it just like you're going to an elevator. So I was able to make this in Canva, this little directory. And so we can literally click on any room that we want to. And go there. And usually most times we're in this training room. That is the classroom where we learn on Saturdays. And so usually most people just come in here. But also there are some times where, and I do have the invisible circles here as well too, but sometimes my lobby was getting really full and I was finding, just like in real life, that people tend to hover in the lobby and have conversation with each other. So what I did was I created different corners of the lobby where they can go in and they can just have a seat and talk to one another. Versus having to just coalesce here at the elevator, and then creating a little tiny sitting room if they just wanted to have a snack or if they just saw their friend, and they needed to catch up, before they came into the classroom, because there's no talking when the teacher is talking in the classroom.
Of course.
So just wanted to create, and I call these corners, but I believe in our world, Marisa, we call these triple decker rooms.
Yeah. Or stacked rooms, right? So
stacked rooms, yes.
Either one works. And so just to keep people in mind, if you're looking at this for ideas, you got a GoBrunch space and you're like, oh my gosh, I want to keep this. If we were talking, everybody in this room, regardless of where they're at in the stack, will hear you. We don't have localized sound yet. I'll just say yet. And Richard can, smack me on the wrist later for mentioning something like that. But it's definitely something we're looking at. So the nice thing about this is, like you said, a lot of people might be lingering. It allows them to go into the different space. They can drop down if they want to hang out, as opposed to just being, where people are trying to find the navigation to it. But it is something to think about, is the conversations you're having. Some people might forget that other people can hear them and they're down here in the, in the lounge chit-chatting, and that other people can hear them. So it's just something to keep in mind when you're building these rooms, is that you do let people know that everybody can hear them no matter where you are in the stack.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. So so that's the lobby area. And as you can tell, I'm sticking with that same pink theme, and I just adore it. I would love to show the listening lounge.
Let's see it.
So this is a space that I thought of once again, because not only do I have a lot of folks
you might just have to share the different tab for us to see. Yep. There we go. Cool.
Yep. Not only do I have a lot of folks that are YouTubers, but I have a lot of podcasters as well. And so I wanted to create a space where some slight music was playing, and they can come in, and if you wanted to read a portion of your book, right?
Oh, okay.
Like a book read, or if you wanted to pop in a podcast and have people listen to it, just to get a feel, if you wanted to launch your podcast, just to have a really nice space where you can do this, because this space reminds me of, let me sit down with a little tiny drink and let me just listen to whoever's talking and comment and have some conversation surrounding it. Like, what better place to do that than a listening lounge?
Yep, little smoked whiskey. Just sitting there having a sip and listening to everybody. So that's great. And so do you ever plan, do you have set days that people come in, or is this just we pop in when we want to?
So something like the listening lounge and the Bravo Theater, those are more set, where it's like, hey, Jay, I have a podcast that I would really like to have in the listening lounge. Can we block some time? Can we make an event around it? So usually my folks, my members, they know that this space is here for them. They just have to book it so we can make sure that, the right people are coming in.
Yeah.
And if we needed to grab like a Fawetta, a widget to have something planned in the background, because I can also tailor this, not just the way I have my logo up there, I can also tailor it for my client. I can put a copy of their book. I can put their
Yes.
logo. I can make the experience for them so much better than just being on a regular Zoom.
Yes, a few years ago, we actually did a branded event for a third-party client, and we basically created the entire event space branded for their company. So the banners, pretty much anything that you can think of that could be branded, we branded. Even the glasses in the meeting
Wow.
rooms had their brand on it, and it was such a powerful experience for them to come in and know that every little piece was kind of thought of and that
Yeah.
their branding was everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And imagine, I'm in corporate sales. I'm a corporate sales trainer, but imagine wanting to impress some clients and saying, hey, I know we're spread throughout the world, but come, I have something, I can put us all together. And then they step into the room and
Mhm.
their brand is there.
Mhm.
And imagine when we talk about creating memorable experiences, that's what sells, right?
Mhm.
That memorable
Yep.
experiences create emotion.
Oh,
And that's what
yep.
these Go Brunch rooms excite for a lot of people. They excite some type of emotion that will, in my opinion, get you closer to a sale than not.
Yeah, I mean, bringing people into a room like this and having a pitch or a sales conversation is so much powerful than working on Zoom. Like it's just such an ability. We're sitting in chairs, we're lounging, we're having this conversation. There might be soft music playing in the background. And the nice thing about when we embed music and things like that, we have the ability to it's the user gets to decide, the person sitting in the chair gets to decide if they want that music playing or not. Like there's things that we can build into these rooms that allow them to experience it in the way that they want to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm really proud of my space, and I'm really just so excited because it's only going to get better.
Yes. I
Um,
mean, that's the beautiful thing.
yeah,
These things are it's not one and done when you make this. First of all,
right.
you will get anybody using GoBrunch wondering, but like you will make so many rooms and then you'll go back and you'll remake them because you're like, oh, I can make this even better. You'll learn things from the community. My
Mhm.
rooms, like I said, I had the same template from GoBrunch for, a year or two before I was like, wait, I can make this better. Okay.
Yeah, actually, my room was just refreshed. I want to say October. So
Okay.
we took the summer off. So my group, we took the summer off. We had such a great first quarter, and we were all a little burnt out. So we took the summer off, and when they came back, I promised them a refresh. And so all of the rooms were refreshed, and I kind of opened it up, and I had everybody going in between the rooms. It was just so great. The excitement was buzzing because they know that this space is for them. And when they go and they tell their friends, they're not just talking about, oh, Jay's great at selling, you really need to work with Jay. It's the environment, it's the atmosphere, it's the communication that they're able to have in the different spaces that, make you feel certain different types of ways. And so all of that is just a super great experience.
Cool. We'll come back
Yeah,
into the interview room. I've got a couple more questions if you want,
sure.
if you have time. I know we started a little
Absolutely.
late because of tardy girl, but we'll get it. Okay, cool. So what I want to ask is, first of all, what has been your favorite experience in GoBrunch? What was the key standout, whether it was in your community or elsewhere?
Oh, I mean, I enjoy all the networking events. When Richard started the Tasties, I think that's what they were called, when we had the the meetings, and we can go and we can learn from each other, because that's where I started to meet people. Because remember, you said I felt like I was on an island. Well, I did too, because I didn't really know anyone else that was using the platform. And so I really couldn't grow or learn because I feed off of other people's
Yeah.
energies, right?
Yeah.
And so I remember the first one we had was your talk, right? And then that's when I was like, oh, that one workshop opened my mind up to and I went and I tried and I'm like, I got to get my tables and I got to try to make my room. And I remember struggling. I was like, I cannot do it, right? And then Richard did the certification.
Yes. Yeah, where the
And I
circle
was
breakdown
forced.
to the Yep.
It was one of the best experiences because I'm a very competitive person. And so if you tell me I have to do something in 45 minutes, I am going to try my best to do it. And so Richard said, before you leave here, I want your spaces to be built out. That was the best thing he could have done for me
Game on.
because he forced me to put together the spaces. They weren't perfect.
No.
Right? They weren't perfect, but I now had a space where I can invite my folks to that I could be proud of, because even though they weren't perfect, they still were better than your average virtual meeting setup space,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So, and once I was able to see the reaction from my members of their new space, it really encouraged me to say, okay, I need to learn how to build this better. And so I just kept coming to all of the different workshops and I kept trying, and I would send rooms to Richard and have him critique it. And, all of that is the best
You sent
part
some
for
to me
me.
too. You were like, here, can you take a look? I was like, yeah, what if we do this, this, and this? And I love that about you, because the thing is, I mean, even with something like sales, which you're dealing with, if people come in and think that they know all there is about sales, no, we're still learning. I've been selling since I was a kid. I started my first business in grade 6. I have been
Wow.
I started selling milk at my school. I had like this big old plant. Anyways, so I've been selling things since grade 6. There's so many things I'm learning about sales, right? And so coming in and being like, "Hey Jay, I am not doing something in sales. Can I ask you a question?" Now we've built a community. Now we're in relationship to each other.
Yep.
Now you're helping me with skills. You're like, you come in, you're like, I want to do something in my room. Oh, I'm like, and you know me, I'll be like, yeah, let's do this. Now we're showing what's possible in our separate communities and how we're collaborating together to create something even better, right?
Yeah.
And so you're using these rooms to really establish a relationship with your community, with your members, but you're showing them what it takes. It's like, it's not perfect, it's not, but we're building on it.
Right.
And then I'm going to go away and we're going to come in and do a refresh. And now you thought the rooms were amazing. Now look at them, because now I've learned this. Well, now they have an analogy for their sales process,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Your sales
Yes.
went bad, but now you come into the room, and every little time you come into that room, your sales conversation is going to get even better.
Yes.
And when we
Exactly.
work together, when we build on each other's skills, who's ever in the room, we are now building even better sales conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And it helps people conversate. How could you not walk into a room and not mention, oh my God, this pink plush couches? Of course, this is Jay, right? And so the other thing that we're also teaching people, no matter which GoBrunch spaces, we're teaching visibility, the art of being visible, like camera on. You know what I mean? Like, I know people say game on. For us, camera on. Let's go. Be visible. Let's see who you are. I was telling my boss at my job today. She said, "Do you pick a word of the year, or do you do like a New Year's resolution?" I said, "I usually do a word of the year, but I'm struggling between two words, and those two words are participate and intentional." And I think I'm going to put them together and
Intentional
say,
participation.
yes, because how can you come into a space like this and hide behind a bubble? You can do that on Zoom. You can do that on Teams. But when you come into a space like this, it's hardly going to happen. And so I want to teach my people that, networking is all about meeting people. But in order for you to meet those people, you have to show up, you have to be visible, and it's not just showing up anymore. You have to be an active participant. That's what we want.
I just tried to keep myself as quiet as possible because I was like, this is a juicy soundbite and I want to clip it. So I just was like, don't move, don't make a sound. I was like, because it was so good. I can only imagine what my face. I'm gonna clip it so it's just you because I could only imagine what my face was like right now because I was like, it's so. I was just like, this is why I'm often behind a bubble because I literally cannot control my face when somebody has like the best soundbite and I'm about to. I'm like, and I'm like, I can't even handle it. And you were just like, that was beautiful. That was so beautiful. You had so many juicy sound bites in here. I have like been dying. I'm glad that like I actually had made a big screen of your rooms because I literally so many times I was like I was just like anyways, I my corporate career was public relations. So can you tell? I'm like, ooh, juicy soundbite,
Yes.
juicy soundbite. This has been so great. Is there anything else that we haven't covered that you want people to know about your sales success or anything like joining your membership, anything like that we can include?
Yeah, for all of you entrepreneurs out there that are doing really well, a lot of us get into business because we're passionate about that business, right? We're passionate. Is what brought us, right? But I'm going to tell you, sales is what's going to keep you passionate, right? And so if you are at that point to where you are wondering how you can convert more, how you can get more sales conversations, how you can connect with more people, Sales Success Society is that place for you. And let me tell you, I have a lot of fun people that are in that membership, and they make selling fun every single time we come into this room. But if you are in a space to where you are ready to turn maybe your business from hobby into a success, you're ready to start generating that revenue and just ready to turn up the heat, this is a really good place for you to be. It's nice, it's comfortable, it's small, it's quaint. Most people that come into the community end up being like friends outside of the community, and that's what I want. And they end up doing collaborations together, and that's what community is all about. It's just that, my community is helping people, get to the sale, because I saw that there's a lot of people out there that are talking about selling, but a lot of people don't have the background. I'm 20 something years in. Even though I look like I'm 21, I promise you I'm not. 21 years of selling in, I know I can get you to making that money and making those sales. So come on over, come check us out. If you like, you want to come to a couple of meetings on me, that is completely fine. We love visitors in our space. Come meet some of the other coaches and experts that are in that space and just come hang out with us. You'll pick up a nugget or two that you can go back and maybe you can, implement in your business, and maybe you'll want to come back even more. So yeah, come on over and say hello to Sales Success Society members.
I mean, if nothing else, you'll learn how to do an amazing pitch on any kind of podcast or any kind of video system, just like that happened, because that's what you want to do. You want to be able, like you said, you want to be able to show up, you want to be visible. And I actually, now that you show me this, I think this is a fantastic way to learn sales, because you're right. You start off in your small bubble, you can go up on the big cam if you need to, but what you're doing is you're practicing engaging and you're seeing the other person in there, and you are practicing what you're saying and getting better and refining it and honing in on exactly that message, that what you just did right there.
Yep.
You gave everybody the reason. I was like, okay, well, I'm in. And it's just like, it's being able to do that. You can't practice that on Zoom. You just can't. It's too easy to hide on Zoom. And in here, you're able to experience that conversation, that exchange in here. I mean, look how excited I was when you were doing those juicy bits. I was like, I can't. In Zoom, I've already dissiociated and zoned out.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
when is this over? I
Yeah.
can't help it. Every time I get interviewed like for interviews in Zoom, I'm like, oh boy, this is going to be hard for me. Whereas like this conversation, all in, like engaging. We saw your face moving in those displays. Like
Yeah.
you were bringing us right in. This was an entire sales conversation throughout this
Yeah.
entire like recording.
Yeah, well, that's good. I want to sell this because I want more people to come in. I want more friends and go brunch. You know what I mean? And what better place to do it? I have totally taken my business online. Last year I was dibbling, dabbling, going to different, networkers, and I have so much more fun here in the comfort of my home. And I don't feel alone, even though I'm in this big house by myself. When I come to my Go Brunch meetings, when I'm meeting people, even at the Waffle Works, right? It just feels like a warm, close knit group of people that want everyone to be successful. And that's the place that you want to be. That's the place you want to grow. And Marisa is awesome. She is probably one of the pioneers of creating great spaces. And so it's always a good time to be within her company. So come along. Let's join Marisa. Let's follow and see
Come
what
along,
she's going to be
everyone.
coming up. Yeah.
Come along. I'm like the gateway enabler for community. I'm like, do you want a community? Would you like a community? You get a community. You get a community.
Yeah. Some of my folks have actually bought into Go Brunch, and they are actually creating their very own communities because they see the power
Yes.
in this type of community, because we've been showcasing it for well over a year now.
Yes. And it works.
Yeah.
It just works.
Yeah.
Like anytime we do a workshop, anytime we do a meetup, I can see that it is just so much different. And people being able to, somebody the other day, they went to one of my workshops from like early last year and they repeated almost like, I was like, that was like an exact line for my workshop. And she's like, yeah, I know, it's just stuck in my head. I'm like, what? And she's like, yeah, I was able to see you and you were gesturing. And she's like, and you had the PowerPoint with the line up there. And I'm like, oh, that whole combination of seeing me in person doing the gesturing that I do because I'm an animated person. And I was like, oh, I'm like, it was such good feedback. Because sometimes you kind of go, is this working?
Yeah.
And then to hear that, it was like, 10 months later, I'm like, wow, that's powerful. We've changed something in there, right?
Yeah. 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 That was part of the transformation. They were able to hear something that shifted their mindset, right? And that's what it's about. It's like we're creating spaces to make it okay to shift your mindset. That's what this is about. And that is the magic. That's the magic of these spaces. It's everybody that comes in here, they can't help but to get excited about the possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're one of the people that help excite people to do that. So thank you very much for showing up. Like I said, I always appreciate when I see you in the audience and I'm like, I'm just going to go sit beside you. I know that this is somebody
Yay.
I like. So let's get in here. And of course, I can't wait to see what else you do. I can't wait to see what else you create in here. And as your membership grows, we'll definitely we'll do this again. We'll come up and like, okay, now what have you learned? The next time you do a refresh, we'll be like, hey, now what have you learned? Because every single time we make a new room, there's just something we learn. Every time we see people interacting and being in that space, it's fantastic. So thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for showing us your rooms. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being a member of GoBrunch.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. And thank you so much for teaching us and encouraging us. And like I said, showing us what is possible. You were a big proponent in that, I know, for myself and for a lot of other Go Brunchers. You were the one. So it's an honor to be sitting here on your stage, right?
This little thing that I whipped up in like 2 minutes. Where I was like, hey, Richard, maybe we should just do a Go Brunch talk show. And he was like, what? And I was like, here, I made a room. he's like, okay, I guess we'll do that now. And then we went into a waffle. Like literally it happened like 5 minutes before that waffle. And then we're like, oh, by the way, here's a link. Who wants to sign up? And that's the thing. We made this in like, it was a 5-10 minute initiative. And now we have a talk show. Like that's what's possible here.
That is amazing. So thank you so much. It has been a great conversation, Marisa.
Yeah, I can't wait to we'll have so many more. And thank you everybody for watching. This is our GoBrunch talk show. This is our inaugural date. We've created a whole bunch. We're going to be having more of these on YouTube. You can definitely follow along using the playlist. All of the links from Jay that she has shown today, not only how you can join the Sales Success School Mastery. What's the third word? I missed it.
Sales Success Society, because we're a little bougie with it.
I like that. Pinkies out, the Sales Success Society. The links will be definitely in the description. Go check out what Jay's doing. Get in this conversation. If you have sales happening in your business, in your career, go have this conversation. Get in here because you need it. Thank you, everybody. And we'll see you again with another GoBruncher.